What's up, everybody? It's Greg Birch of Delta Financial, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business by talking about sales, leadership, entrepreneurship, mindset, and marketing. And we bring on guest speakers. Today, I'm honored and pleasured to welcome Mr. Jammin Delgrosso. Benjamin, how you doing, brother?
Doing well. It was awesome, man. I appreciate it.
How you like that? How you like that? The clapping.
It's wicked, man. It makes me feel important.
I love it. I love it. Well, you are important, man. You are important. Well, first off, man, how long ago did we record on your podcast? It's been been a hot minute.
8-9 minutes, and it was fire, man. And I remember we went I swear an hour and 15 minutes or something, and then near the last 15 minutes of the podcast, it was all you were so fired up. You're like, I'm doing 75 hard freaking podcasts now. And you started having these round tables and oh man, it was wicked. Yeah. So
it was a good time, man. It was a good time. So what I want to do is start off by reading a little bit from your bio so that everyone that's listening knows a little bit about you and how you started and why you're on this podcast today. So Benjamin was born in Winnipeg. He grew up living across the prairies, across Winnipeg, Regina, Calgary, Edmonton, and Sherwood Park in Canada. It's at the young age of 10, he was working, delivering for a Winnipeg Free Press. During this time is when he learned the responsibilities of waking up early and completing tasks on time. He had to go once a month and collect money door to door, which is difficult to say the least, especially as a 10-year-old. He learned at a young age how to interact and talk to people with the help of his parents. During his teenage years, he worked at Burger King, High Guard, Fine Foods, McGavin's Bread, and Royal Pizza as a delivery driver. In his professional career, he's worked as a salesman, a technician, a supervisor, store manager, purchasing manager, operations manager, regional manager, and most recently, an entrepreneur of Safe Drive Solutions. Benjamin, tell us. Tell us about your path to entrepreneurship and the challenges that you've had, brother.
When I started, working on my own brand a little bit more the last year, and I built BenjaminDelgrosso.com, which is still kind of like a basic website. And I was trying to figure out, I started looking back at my past and realizing holy smokes, me delivering papers at a young age and having to go door to door and build those social skills. I mean, nowadays, if you were to deliver the paper in wherever you are, you're not even collecting money anymore. It's automatically taken from them. So those social skills are gone. Literally all you're doing is dropping the paper off in their mailbox and leaving. So there's no relationship built. And I mean, and when I was young, Christmas time, someone would leave chocolates in their mailbox. There'd be all sorts of tips. It's a different world nowadays, right? Compared to what it used to be. So it's very cool just how far I've come and looking back at that. When you want to talk about, get into the entrepreneurship side of me and kind of how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's get into that. So, January 2020, I quit my job. There was just something going on there. Wasn't really happy about it. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and take a month off. Hey, I've been working since 10 years old. Why I should deserve to be able to take, a month off, spend some time with the family. And I did. Next thing you know, I was supposed to be working for another company come March, and the world felt like having a pandemic, and I ended up unemployed.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was going to do. April 2020, I was scheduled to go to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and speak in front of people. Who knows how many people would have showed up? 10 to 100 people probably would have showed up to the room. And I was going to talk about systems and processes, inventory management, purchasing, negotiation, that kind of stuff. And I was hoping I would launch some sort of a part-time consulting career. So because that didn't happen, like a lot of other people online, I started doing these free online trainings, trying to educate people. And what I quickly found out is a lot of times when you're giving away free trainings, people aren't going to take action on it.
Yeah,
most of them aren't. Yeah, most people just aren't going to. So I started realizing I'm giving away this free training and I'm unemployed. Why am I not just taking my own advice and starting my own business? Right? And all I was telling people was, people are at home, they're working from home, you need to go direct to them. So whatever services you offer, you should go and pick their vehicle up, or you should go and install it on site because people are already working at home.
Mm.
And so that's basically, I came up with this business idea, Safe Drive Solutions, where we go directly on site, install dash cameras in customers' vehicles, and yeah, full ecom, no brick and mortar at all, at least not yet. Maybe in the coming years we'll have a brick and mortar. And that's kind of how the idea was born.
So now I love that you had you this was almost also born out of necessity because COVID comes, you already had a job lined up. COVID comes, everything kind of shits the bed. And now you're like, wow, what do I do? You have a lot of experience that you're trying to help people. And it sounds like you almost had the idea then that you were building a brand and providing value in order to showcase something to like get back to where you can get on stage, talk at events, et cetera, et cetera. But you realize like, hey, people aren't taking my advice. I'm not even taking my own advice. I need to go have my own entrepreneur opportunity. What exactly why dash cams? Why this? Like, is there something that you already had experience? Was there anything that what was the conversation in your head or your thought process leading into that?
So, well, a couple different things. One, I'd already been doing like car audio, aftermarket electronics on vehicles for 20 plus years at that point in time. Right. So my whole focus was on doing that. And I was looking at everything in the car audio industry was becoming more and more complicated as it kept going on.
Mm.
So back in the, when I started in the game in 1998, somebody comes in with a vehicle, most speakers kind of bolted in. There wasn't a lot of complex technology in the vehicle. You wanted to get a radio, you get it was a simple like $15 harness. And then with all the technology that's kind of come around now and vehicles changing, it started turning into, do you have the Harman Kardon? Do you have this? You had to ask so many questions. And watching businesses, everybody wanted to hire someone who had 5 or 10 years experience because the learning curve was massive. So how do you scale that business knowing that you need to have that knowledge? And let's say you're an entrepreneur that owns a car audio shop. How are you supposed to have an exit strategy of getting rid of yourself when you're probably one of the more valuable assets of that company?
Mm.
So when you look at dash cameras, they're 3 wires on the majority of vehicles. And guess what? They're universal. They fit in every single vehicle. So in terms of scalability, I felt that it would be a lot easier for me to hire somebody and train them very easily on those sets of skills.
Mm.
On top of that, selling a product that pretty much works in every single vehicle makes it even easier as well. Right?
You have a larger population that can be your potential clientele.
Yeah, because so for instance, you come in and I don't know, you got a Ford truck. I'm just like throwing things out here, and now you got to look up. Is it? Do you?
Well, yes.
But now you got to find out: is it a 6.5 in the door, a 6x9, a 6x8, a 5x7, a 5-inch, a 4? So you have to figure out all this information of what's in your door. I don't need to do all that. All that is gone and out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also don't need to stock every single size of speaker. I literally just have to stock certain dash cameras, and they're universal. So it makes it a lot easier. Like I said, learning curve and for scaling the company.
Yeah. And when you talk about scaling, how long before when you first started, let's talk about your first initial weeks, months, days. How long was it before you started to make money? Like, let's talk about that process to where you could be like, hey, this is actually working, nailing down the sales process, all that.
This is, this is great questions. So I'm going to tell you, straight up, I'm going to tell you when I started my business in July 2020 was launch. And I was so focused in my head that I was going to pay myself, $3 to $5 grand a month. And, I'll be laughing, it'll be good. And then I'll be up to, 8 or 10 grand a month. And in your head, you think like, this is what happens when you're starting a business. People go, well, I know when I worked for such and such a place, they did, let's call it 30,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 in business. And you feel that, well, I can just go and take all that. It's
Mm,
just there. But what you don't realize is when you're starting a business, you're building a brand from scratch. And the first 3 to 6 months, most people want to see if you're even going to still exist a year from now,
yeah.
right? They don't want to take the chance of typically dealing with you. So, there was a lot of those struggles. And the first month, I mean, I did something like $3,000 in sales. And I was like,
And what
holy
was the overhead?
crap, man. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. It was huge, huge. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't pay myself anything. I did not pay myself a dime out of the business for 18 months. And anybody who thinks they're going to start a business as an entrepreneur and pay themselves from day one, you better have taken out a fat loan to be able to pay yourself,
Yeah.
because you're not going to be able to pay yourself typically right out of the gate,
Yeah.
depending on what you do, right? You really need to, I mean, I worked really hard to get it to where it is today, where I can actually take a paycheck now.
Mm,
And I'm still not paying myself massively because I'm continuously investing into the company. And to kind of focus a little bit more on that, the first year of business, because I was so worried about the money, I focused only on the transaction. So to me, it was all about getting the money, get the money, get the money. What do I got to do to get the money? Oh, I don't know. I'll throw $1,000 in Facebook ads this month. Let's see what happens. So it turned into me focusing on just the transaction. It wasn't about building a relationship with the customer. It wasn't about taking the customer. It wasn't about long-term thinking, right? And this was a lot of the big mistakes I made because I felt like I was in survival mode.
yeah.
Another big thing that happened during the first year is I probably applied for 50 jobs because
Oh, that's the worst.
yeah, man, you doubt yourself. The
Yeah.
whole time you're sitting there going, this is never going to work. I need to find a new job. You know what? This will just be like on weeknights and weekends. And you have that in your head. So you're not all in on the business.
Yeah.
And the
And how
majority
much
of
how much energy, how much mental energy were you putting towards looking at other possible potential opportunities that
oh
you
man,
felt were going to pay out better or give you a better life? That's energy and time that you were not pouring into
into
making
the
your
business. Yeah.
making your business 100% better.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I bet 50%.
Yeah.
At a point in time, I was 50%. I got into some advanced interviews with two companies, right? And like where I was final candidates, it was between me and another person. And the reason why the one company didn't hire me is because I had the business, right? So just because I have the business.
Yeah.
So,
So
which is
you're talking about a
fine.
lot of things. You were talking about a lot of things here. I want to hone in on.
Yeah.
One
Go
is
ahead. Go ahead.
having patience in your business, like setting the realistic expectations on the front end that you're going to do some work, you're going to grind for a little bit before you get to a point where you're going to kind of look up and say, "Oh wow, I made it this far." I like that happens a lot, as an entrepreneur, especially in something as simple as insurance sales, because they're in insurance when you get hired or you get brought into a company, a lot of times you have somebody that's telling you, that's selling the dream. Like, you're going to come on board. It's so easy to do sales. You're going to be making, 5 to 6 figures a month by the end of the year, before you know it. And it's just not the reality. So you come in and you don't put the work in. You think it's going to be easy because you were painted this easy picture. And so you
Yeah.
don't put in the work. And then what happens is that it messes with your mindset, right? And two things happen from that. One, you get stressed out that you're not making the money, so you focus on just getting the sale and just like making money, and you get commission breath, and you start to sell and not provide a service. Then your other energy is spent looking for other opportunities, looking for that second. And this crazy. I love that you're going over this, Benjamin, because
Oh yeah.
this is the same exact path that every single entrepreneur, especially in insurance, goes through. So how did you get through that? What happened?
You know, what happened was I just felt that I needed something else to take my mind off of it. So I actually enrolled in night school. So I had something else to do to focus on. Because in my head, I thought, hey, if this isn't working out, I should do school at night, but I need to be all in during the day on the business. Right. So I did that. And I felt that that was a good move for me. Now, not everybody is going to make that same move. A lot of people are probably going to be all in on the business, or they're going to get a job, grind, and then do it at night, and everybody's different. I felt that I needed to do that. Let's focus on some education to keep my mind at ease at night when you have that downtime, and like anxiety or depression or that kind of stuff kind of creeps in because you're just sitting there, you're spending time with the family, and now you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
So I decided to do
Looking at
schooling.
the
I thought it
future,
worked.
these bills are coming out. I don't know if I'm gonna be making money.
Yeah.
I'm not making money now. I need to get a job. I need to it just spirals. It gets, and what's crazy is that at no point does it ever, like, the logic never comes in. That's like, even if I got a job today, I still have to do through onboarding. I got to do all this extra stuff before they actually bring me on board. I start payroll, then I got to wait for the 2 weeks in order for me to have my first paycheck come out. You're looking 3-4 weeks down the road before you get your first paycheck, more than likely, if you start, especially if you're starting at the interview process. What can you
Yeah.
do in 4 weeks if you just grinded your face off? Like, how much more money could you make if you're just like, I'm going to put 100% of everything, like I'm trying to survive and my life depends on this, and I'm going to do everything
Yeah.
possible. So,
Man, it
no,
was
that's good. So
it,
you
it
went to
was
night school.
different. Like, yeah, I mean, I focused on global supply chain management because I felt
Okay.
that would actually at least help me. However, right when I started school, because I started school, it was like a month later because my mindset changed because how I was thinking. I didn't have that anxiety. I didn't have any of that stuff kind of going on at night. I didn't have that time available, to think about that stuff. So a month after I started school, next thing I know, I had this whole thing where customers calling me, and this was a very big step in my business. In July 2021, so 1 year after the business had opened, this customer called me and she goes, "I really want to support your business. I like supporting local businesses, but I can't find your Google reviews." And I'm explaining to her, hey, well, what you do is you go to Google Maps and you look up Safe Drive Solutions. And then when you go on there, you click on this, and then you'll see my reviews. And then, like, the next day, another customer calls again, and I can't find your Google reviews. And I'm like, doing the same thing. And I'm going, what the heck am I doing? And this was like, you have to remember, the first year, I was in a transaction mindset. It was all about get the money, get the money, get the money. And as soon as it dawned on me, if a customer calls once, that's fine. If a customer calls twice asking for something, I better make it easily available to the clients.
Mm.
So within a week, I had Google reviews on my website and my business soared. It went flying up because obviously other customers are looking for the same information. So then I started analyzing every part of my business. I had people emailing me saying, hey, will a dash camera kill my battery if I install it? I'm like, man, I'm always answering this question. What does the GPS antenna do? All these questions people kept asking me in every business. And I do lots of little trainings within our Arate community where I'm trying to explain to people that you get these questions asked all the time. And I guarantee you write a big email out over and over and over again. So what I did was I started building blogs on my website, answering all these questions. And then I built YouTube videos answering all these questions. And then what I started doing is customers would contact me for an estimate, and I would automatically say, hey, for a lot of the common questions, please watch our YouTube video or read our blog. And now 99% of the people that asked those questions were gone because I was already giving them the answers. And my business started exploding because instead of these people trying to look elsewhere for questions that I wasn't answering, because not everyone's going to ask those questions. Some of them are going to go to someone who already has the answers.
Yep.
Right. And now you're losing business because of that.
Now,
So,
this is, I want to talk a little bit more about this. There's a book called They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan that literally talks about this concept right here. He did a prefabricated in-ground pools for homes. And he found he was he was getting asked the same questions during the sales process. So he built out a website with a blog, and it was like every single time he got a question, he had a blog post. And he came up with like 100 different blog posts at the start, and he would just send his potential clients there. They would get the answers that they needed, and then they would set up a call. But it made the sales process that much better because it was like they already came educated, ready to go. Now, I know, being in insurance for myself, that a lot of people feel like if you answer too much, that the client won't set up an appointment, right? They'll like go find the information elsewhere. They'll buy it themselves, or they'll like go to Amazon and just order it and hook up a dash cam themselves. Do you feel that by providing that much value or that much information that it is costing you sales?
No. And let me tell you why.
Why?
And actually, I was telling this story about a month ago, and it blew me away that it dawned on me. People who are going to do it themselves are going to do it themselves no matter what. And either you have the information or they're going to get the information from somewhere else, period. And the story that I have about this is back in the day, I used to work at Best Buy. Okay. And when I worked at Best Buy, we used to have free basic deck install. And people would come in and like, hey, you bought a deck for $199. We'll install it for you for free right now. I actually even have a technician available. Yeah, that's okay. I'll do it myself. Yeah, but it's free. Like it's free. And you can, we're professionals, and you can literally drive out of here with your vehicle in probably an hour and you'll have music. No, it's fine. I'll do it myself. What? Right. So it's like, it just dawned on me that, those people there are never, ever going to spend a dime with you on installation, period. They might buy the product from you though, because you've shown your knowledge. But what I do find is by me talking about how I do installations, that I do installations, what I do, what's involved, explaining them how the product works and educating them, what happens is people know, hey, I want to do business with someone I know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And I see this Benjamin guy making YouTube videos all the time, and I feel like he's someone I can trust. I feel like he really actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I've now started YouTube Shorts, 15-second videos on dash cam installs. And I show a little bit like hidden behind the airbag and wires hidden, soldered. And I'm showing little like 2-3 seconds here. And like I'll have like Toyota Sienna and Ford truck, and I'll have all these different videos. And it's crazy the amount of views I'm getting on some. Like some of them are like over 3,000 views of just a little 15-second video. And then let's say yourself, you contact me and go, hey, Ben, I want to get something done on my Ford truck. I can go, hey, well, you know what? I have these little install shorts of what it would look like in your Ford truck. And now people are like, you know what? I'm going to get the one that you installed in that video in my truck. Because now they have a picture in their head of what it looks like as well. And so people like that information, and they want to deal with people they trust. When I have someone contact me and they have, let's call it a Range Rover, and I don't do a lot of Range Rovers, they probably go to someone else. Why? Because I don't have any videos on Range Rovers. I don't have any information on Range Rovers. So they're going to go to someone who they're a little bit more comfortable with, who has that information readily available on their website.
No, you're absolutely right. And I love that you explain it that way. If they're going to do it themselves, if they're going to go elsewhere, they're going to do it regardless. So you might as well provide the value, and you're 1,000% correct. It is a know, like, and trust concept that you're building right now. Them seeing you on camera, you talking about it on camera, them hearing your voice on camera is a game changer for your clients. So let's talk about your website. Do you host your videos from YouTube? Do you host them on your website as well? So like you do a blog post and maybe you do a video talking about it as well, hosted from YouTube. Perfect. So how difficult was that? Do you do this yourself? Did you build it yourself?
So the new website that's live right now, I actually had another company build everything.
Okay.
However, prior to that, I mean, there's a big part of launch where I got screwed by multiple people that I trusted to do things for the business. but that's life as an entrepreneur.
That's learning. That's a learning
That's
process.
life as an entrepreneur,
Yep,
man.
yep, it's
And
gonna happen.
the guy who was supposed to build my website that screwed me for over $10,000, at the end of the day, really, I should thank him, because now I've learned WordPress, I've learned Google Ads, learned Facebook ads, I've learned, how to write a blog, learned how to make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I am today, if it wasn't for that guy taking advantage of me.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And
Right.
how hard was it going into it being like, dude, I don't want to do that. I'd rather pay somebody $10,000 than spend a few hours learning how to create a website, right?
Oh man. Yeah, it was hard. But what I started realizing was the power of YouTube is so huge. And a lot of people are so scared to get in front of the camera.
Mm.
And if you just provide good information, people will watch it. One of my first YouTube videos has over 5,000 views right now, and it is terrible. It is literally me looking down, and I'm like tapping. I'm nervous. I don't even think I look at the camera at all. I'm reading off of the computer screen, but it has over 5,000 views because it actually is good information.
Yeah.
And so what I've started doing was I wrote all those blogs, because that was my first step with my business. I wrote all the blogs. And then this little secret thing I added in was, when you go to the blog, I added the YouTube video into the blog.
Yep. And it's
So
connected.
now
You click on it, it'll take you to the YouTube channel. Now it's like this is a way to do backlinks also. So you have backlinks, and then if you click on the YouTube video, in the YouTube video, you'll have a link that goes back to your website that takes you. So it's a dual connected backlink, which helps with Google SEO, by the way.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
So at what point of the business did you start doing podcasting? And what got you to do that?
Well, that's a story. So September last year, they, not to turn it a little politically, they started that whole, you needed to have a vaccine passport to go eat out here in Canada.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that they were doing that. I felt like they were, separating the people. So I decided that I was going to get healthy and not eat out at all, period. No matter what. I'm not going to eat McDonald's, I'm not going to eat anything, none of that junk. And I needed to eat healthy anyways. So I started 75 hard.
Boom.
And I tried it before, like a year and a half prior, and I quit. But this time I seen it through. We literally had flooding happening here in Greater Vancouver, Canada. I was walking through puddles. I was doing everything. Now, like, I trained to the point where, like, I was doing like lots of walking, just like aggressive walking, but I wasn't doing any running or anything like that. I do have a problem with that, with running on cement. So I did the walking. Either way, I ended up losing, 27 pounds over 75 days.
Which is phenomenal.
And it was literally, I finished right around Black Friday is when I finished the 75 hard, and it was nuts. I was like this crazy steam engine that just made me go, man, I need to do YouTube videos. And it was like I wasn't scared to get in front of the camera anymore all of a sudden. For the longest time, I was scared of getting in front of the camera. What are people going to think of me? What are people going to say about me? But it was just like the momentum coming out of 75 hard is so crazy and intense. Yeah. So I started the YouTube videos 3 weeks later after the YouTube. So like it was around December 23rd. I talked to Chris Warrens. He's in Arte.
I got him group. Actually scheduled. Him and I recording next week. He's a dope dude. Great book.
Dude, you guys are going to like light it up. It's going to be amazing.
I'm excited.
So get on the phone with him, directs me to Anchor for like, because it'll do Spotify, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, man. He's like, dude, you figured it out, man. Like you're great. I get off the Zoom with him. A half hour later, I was like, dude, we're live. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man, I recorded like a 12-minute video and I put it on podcast live. And he's like, oh shit. I don't know if anyone takes action like that quick. I was like, it needs to get done. So I put it out there, and my whole original idea for my podcast was going to be, you know, dash cameras and aftermarket automotive, and that's what I was going to do. I thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do for a podcast. But my first podcast came out, and I was talking all about how when you go into Starbucks, and a lot of times in Starbucks, they don't ask your name anymore. And, the whole part of their experience was they would say, hey, Ben, we're going to get your grande caramel macchiato ready for you. How's your day going? And then, they're making, blah, 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 whatever. And then when it comes up, hey, Benjamin, your grande caramel macchiato is ready for you. And I just seen like it changed so much that like maybe 1 out of 5 Starbucks were doing it. And it's like, so I'm paying $5 for a coffee, and you're really kind of paying for the experience plus the coffee, and the experience is gone. And I had like 12 listens within 24 hours, which for me, I was like, wow, I can't even believe people are listening to me. And 3 people reached out to me and said, man, I didn't realize about Starbucks until you did your thing. And then December 25th, Christmas Day, this guy within Arate, he hosts a mastermind every single Saturday. He's for 5 years now. And I'm in there Christmas Day morning, 6 a.m., boom, boom, and we're chatting. And it's only him and I because no one else came in, right? Christmas Day. And we basically, he's like, dude, sounds like you need to rebrand yourself. I'm like, yeah. And it was like 20 minutes later, I had a new logo, focus on customer experience. And I've never looked back. Like never looked back at all. And, a lot of great things came from it. Like when I first started, it was like I reached out, tried to get some interviews, and you're scared. You don't know where it's going to go. And I remember I reached out to the RTA community, and it was amazing. I had 12 interviews in 14 days. And I honestly will tell anybody who wants to start podcasting,
do it a mastermind.
Come up with 5 questions to ask everybody.
Yeah.
And just 5 questions that are related to your topic. And then the reason why you do this is so that you get more and more comfortable. And after about the first 6 or 7 episodes of these, like what I call speed dating, right? I literally wasn't even asking the questions anymore. It was just like a free for all, chatting with everybody, and you get so comfortable and confident. And yeah, anyways, now I'm, I don't know, 57 episodes or something done now.
Yeah. So that's how Benjamin and I got connected. Is we're in RT together, and I was looking for people for my original podcast for a previous company, and we connected that way. And he was like, "Hey, I'll have you on mine too." And I was like, "Dope, bro." So I came on and talked about customer experience that I've experienced, that I've gone through in insurance, and it was a great time. It was a great time getting on and just meeting Ben and talking. And I agree with everything he's saying here. Having a mastermind, and there's multiple ones out there. There's Arte, Apex, Lions Den, Yeah. So I'm in Arte, Apex, and Brand Builders Group. And I've been able to connect with people from all 3 groups to do podcasts. And that's how a lot of the entrepreneurs or business owners that are coming on for interviews and being part of this podcast is by my connections that I'm making within these groups. So no, he's absolutely right. So
yeah, it's awesome.
So what did the podcast do? Has the podcast had an impact in your business?
And if so, it has and it hasn't. So so what is, a lot of people weigh things on a monetary value. And I don't want to, I don't really weigh the podcast on a monetary value. What I do say that I do weigh it on is I'm getting a lot of like CX consultants, which is customer experience consultants. I'm getting UX consultants. I'm getting all sorts of people. Like I even had this guy, he's a director for cruise ships, and he does consulting for cruise ships on customer experience, right? You get all these different people coming on, and they talk about what they need to do or what they train in the medical field or whatever field that they're in. And what happens is I pick and choose like this and that and whatever.
You're learning along the way.
So I'm learning from them, as well as people, when I'm talking to them, they hear certain things I bring up, and I'll even have some of those people that I'm interviewing going, I'm stealing that and I'm using that in my next keynote. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Right. But that's the thing, is I'm not looking at it as a monetary value. And a lot of people might look at it as, well, how am I getting paid for this? Well, I look at it as though I'm rewarding myself by learning from the other people I'm interviewing, as
Mhm.
well as hopefully I'm also adding value to them when I am interviewing them.
Mhm. No, I love it. I love it. So and final, or we'll kind of start wrapping it up here. How does your business look now? Like versus the start, the struggle, the 18 months before you paid yourself. Now you've been in business for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like you're coming up on almost 2.5 years, 2 years, 3-4 months. What does your business look like now? Do you have any
So
employees?
there's no employees.
No employees?
However, I should have, I was going to hire an employee, but then I realized that I still have downtime. So I decided not to. However, there's a big thing that we are in talks to open in a brand new market right now and bring on a business partner. And I think when we do that, that's going to cause the company to hopefully explode. So that was one of my goals for this year. So that's one of the big things that did take place. I've integrated, I've focused on the customer experience with my customers, right? So, for instance, I do follow-ups. Every single customer I follow up with. And a lot of people don't follow up with their customers because they're focusing on the transaction. It's, hey, I've sold you this box. I've gotten the money for the box. Have a good day. Right. So every single person that I talk to gets a personalized video thank you that's sent directly to them within a couple days after the installation. And even if they just purchase from our e-commerce website, we also send them a personalized video thank you, letting them know that we are here for them. If they have any questions, to definitely reach out to us. Below that, we have videos. We have links for our dash cam support page, which will show them kind of how to, download a video, how to pair their phone, that kind of fun stuff, right? Things that gives them a lot of easy answers, because customers do tend to forget things, because you will have, like, let's call it a 15 or 30-minute interaction with them of showing them how the product works. But then if you're gone and it's a year later, they don't remember.
Yeah.
I've also added in 11-month follow-ups. So now I'm following up 11 months later, because they have a 1-year warranty. And a lot of companies do this 12-month follow-up, but then they're following up when the product's out of warranty. I've never understood that. So I'm trying to follow up at 11 months so that if something is wrong, it's brought to our attention before it goes out of warranty.
And you can capitalize on that warranty at that point.
Yeah.
So.
We've grown in the last 14 months from 10 reviews on Google to 121 Google reviews.
Oh, wow.
Right. And it's not
that's
like
more than 10 reviews a month.
Yeah, it's because I'm doing that, and I'm creating an experience for the customers, and I'm taking care of them. And I explain to them that it's, I'm looking long-term at everything. I'll have people ask me like, well, why aren't you charging me more to do the install when you're driving an hour one way to do the install? And I go, well, because my whole goal is that I'm going to have a guy in this region that's going to live in this region that will take care of you. That's my goal in the long term. But if I was thinking short term and going, well, I got to drive an hour there, so I need to charge them an extra $100, I wouldn't get that business, because there's already somebody in that area that is competing with me. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm taking those customers out of the market and becoming my customers by separating myself, by giving them good customer service and being urgent. And the other thing I did a year ago was I focused on creating my 5 core values.
Yeah, I like it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
5 core values, which is efficiency, integrity, urgency, authenticity, and continuous improvement. Right? And you got to live by your values. So many people don't. I mean, I have like notifications on my phone, so I was going to show you, but But yeah, I actually have it on my phone. It's always staring in your face.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
got
I
rid of
love
the
that.
notifications. Why? Because you want it in your face. You want to remember it. You want to, and so everything I do is all about my values. It's all about, you know, making this move in the business is that focus on my values for continuous improvement. You know, I bought a new toolbox in December last year. My wife's like, "Do you really need to spend $400 on that?" I said, "You know what? I think this will pay for itself within 2 weeks." She goes, "You think $400 can pay yourself for 2 weeks?" Yeah, because I bought that new toolbox and one of my values is efficiency. I was able to do one extra vehicle a day now because my tools were better organized and easier to access. Right.
Yeah.
But if you think about it as just an expense or the transaction and you're just focusing on that $400 expense, you will not look at long term of where that investment can go.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. I mean, I wish you'd have brought up core values a little bit sooner. I love talking about core values and culture because it is immensely important for organizational health, especially when you're wanting to put yourself on a platform to where you can grow at a steady rate and the growth is stable. Is you have to have something that you believe by in your organization. You have to have something that people can look to and operate by. How your organization, how people interact with each other, how they speak with each other, how they speak with clients, how they speak with third-party vendors, how are they, operating day in and day out? That's your core values. That's the culture of your organization. So I love that you have that for your company, man. That's fantastic. Um, in closing, so obviously we're probably talking mostly to entrepreneurs or sales professionals. Most of them are probably going to be in insurance, but there's still a lot of value here that they can learn from you and your experience. What would you say, knowing what you know now? What advice would you have given yourself as you started the business back almost 2.5 years ago?
I would have directly, right when I was launching the business, I would have set up my core values right out of the gate. I would have made sure my mission and vision were bang on right out of the gate. I would have made sure that I had a customer experience focused business instead of a transactional business right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And I bet I would be another year or more ahead of myself right now. I bet I would have been paying myself even quicker than
Oh yeah,
18 months.
definitely.
Right. And that's the thing is I was focusing way too much on the transaction and not looking long term. Like I would say to people, I'm looking long term, but really that was just like a fake misleading, leadership thing. Now, everything is what are we going to do to move the needle to get to there?
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're absolutely right. It is about the customer experience, and everything that you do, you should be focused on turning one customer into two. If you're doing everything you can that person wants to brag about your customer experience, their customer experience with you, the product, the service that you have, and they go tell somebody and bring them to you, then this is how your business can scale very quickly, very easily based off of that customer experience that you're providing. So,
yeah.
Benjamin, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'd probably have an employee now if I would have focused on the customer experience right out of the gate.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you would have. I'm sure you'll have an employee by early next year.
I hope so.
Brother, I appreciate it. If anyone wants to reach out to you and ask me questions in terms of your experience, how can they find you? How can they reach you? What's your YouTube channel? And this is all going to be in the comments also on this video.
So YouTube channel is Safe Drive Solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And you can reach me, probably the easiest way is BenjaminDelgrosso.com, because it goes right there and it has like my LinkedIn and it has all those kind of links right on there as well.
Yeah. So, fantastic. Well,
yeah,
Ben, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you coming on board and taking the time with me. If you got any value out of this, and I know you did if you watch until now, 45 minutes in, then do me a favor, share this content with somebody else that can also get value. This is called a value-based exchange. This means that we gave this to you for free, and therefore you, by word of mouth, provide it to another person that they can learn and grow from it. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. Until next time, we'll see you guys. Take care. God bless.